always say that we saved the best for last. We knew who could ring her up. We knew who could put it all together, just like she does every one of those books that she has put out. How many books? Those, what did she talk about at the beginning? 5,000 interviews she's done. This is like, she's done this like no one's business. But anyways, if you haven't heard throughout the day, if you've just popped on or you don't for some reason, because when someone's in media, for some reason you have not met this woman, you now have, and you can reach out and have this an incredible experience. But Angel is not known just as the media maven. She's known as the media matchmaker. I'm just going to stop there for a minute, because what a matchmaker does is she puts the right person together. A matchmaker, like, those, we go and get a matchmaker and they look for the right formula. That's very different than being a media maven, someone who's like out there, and she is that too. But when you think about that, it reminds me of what Colleen just said about the right people, the right circle, and having the experience of being on the other end of, doing business with Angel, is that she puts people together that are meant to be together. That's, I can't even tell you how beneficial it is for you. It's like being matched up with the right person. You're on Match.com or Plenty of Fish or whatever it is, these dating sites, and she puts the perfect people together. And so you don't have to go swim in that ocean. Anyways, media matchmaker. She's been in broadcasting for 15 years. She's interviewed over 5,000 people. And the thing that you may not know about Angel is that she has 3 children. They all work at the same place. That should have been the trivia question. And they all work at Disney World. So if that doesn't tell you that she's got a happy family going on, right? I'm sure they come home a happy castle. She's the queen of Sales Castle. Anyways, I have to tell you how I met Angel was that I was searching to have a different experience in my media world. And so I was interviewing people, as we all do. And someone who I just recently met knew I was looking, and I was ready to hire somebody. And they're like, oh, no. Before you hire somebody, you have to meet Angel. Now, what a blessed name, because who's going to say no to that? I was like, aren't we all looking for angels in our business? Aren't we all looking for some angel to come down and figure out that SEO? Thank you very much. And so I was like, okay, I'll talk to this woman. And I knew instantly it was the right person for me. And I know, because I didn't even negotiate our price. You know what I mean? When you know, because you're like, I heard the value right there. And clearly she has delivered. So Miss Angel Tuccy, welcome to the stage of the Stand Up, Speak Up, and Show Up. You are the ringing speaker of the inaugural first of 22 events and a book of 262 women coming together. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being my friend.
Oh, Deb, I'm honored, right? From day one, for everything that you are putting together and all the women that you are bringing in. I'm absolutely honored to be to be on your team.
Oh, thank you. So look, did you always want to be in broadcasting?
Right? No, right? Like, you look at me now, 15 years in broadcasting. I was a radio talk show host, 2 back-to-back radio shows that we were broadcasting out of Denver, Colorado. I've hosted a TV show. I've been the editor of a magazine. I had all of these media features, but honestly, I was that scared little girl that we all talked about all day long. I was super shy, super introverted, absolutely paralyzed when it came to public speaking. Almost didn't graduate high school because I couldn't pass my public speaking class because of butterflies in my stomach, my mouth drying up. I mean, it was just, I was just terrified. I was super shy. My dad was in the Navy, so I didn't make friends easily. I was just a real keep to myself kind of girl. So to see me now and to see me in broadcasting, or the fact that I travel as a speaker, is so far removed from anything you would have pictured me as a scared, an absolutely scared little girl.
Okay, so what keeps you from not being scared? What keeps you from not being scared? Like, obviously there was something that you did, or maybe someone made impression, or you, like Kim, you did it anyways, but what makes you not being scared? What makes you not be scared?
Yeah, I will tell you, when I first started in broadcasting, I actually started with a podcast. And so for those of you podcasters, my show was discovered. And podcasting is very different, right? You're just in your own room doing your own thing, no audience in front of you. And we were brought in for a radio show, and I was in a radio studio, and I absolutely loved being in the studio because I could find my voice. I just pretended I was talking to my mom. It was just me and my producer and my co-host or my guest, and I wasn't scared. But every time I would step in front of a group of people, the nerves would just kick in, right? Now the shaking and all of that. But I mean, how many of you have ever done something like you're absolutely terrified on one hand, but excited about it on the other? Like one foot in terrified, one foot in absolutely excited. And when I left broadcasting, the day they told me it was, they dropped me from my shows, they made a change. And it was just 6 weeks before that, I had gone through a public speaking program, kind of like Colleen talking about being a black belt and stretching herself and putting herself through something. This was the hardest class I had ever done. The hardest work we had ever done was taking this public speaking class. It was a 5-day boot camp for public speaking and 12 hours a day. And that was just 6 weeks before they released me from my contracts in broadcasting. And I thought, when God closes one door, right, he opens another. And it was an opportunity for me to go and spread my wings and do something I would have never been brave enough, I think, to do on my own had they not canceled those contracts. And so that first year I left broadcasting and I went and I started speaking and teaching entrepreneurs, teaching authors how to get media exposure, what the insider was. And I discovered I was a unicorn in the space, Deb. There wasn't anybody else who was in broadcasting that was now teaching entrepreneurs and authors and organizations how to do it, like from the inside, and now it's on the outside. And I just felt the call of God on my heart saying, Angel, go and create a kingdom, go and create a platform so that when my people speak, people will listen to them. And it was God's calling on my life to go out and share this message. So terrified on one hand and excited on the other. And so I left broadcasting and became a public speaker. and
Wow.
Here I am today. That was just 4 years ago when I left radio.
Wow. I mean, we've seen it all day. We've heard it all day. People picking up the challenge. I think that was really, what I heard from the last couple of speakers. Eileen was talking about we choose, right? And if we don't choose, it gets chosen for us.
Yeah.
And so you chose to pick it up because you could have not. You could have not. You could have said, I've been laid off. That's awful. I don't know what I'm going to do. And maybe you said those things to yourself for a while, but then you were like, I see something else, or I hear something else. I don't know about something else, but you also were insightful to see. It's very interesting. A friend of mine was sharing that. It's like, if everybody's out digging for gold, you can go dig for gold too, or you could sell shovels.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like you went and sold some shovels because there wasn't a platform. So you had to pioneer in an industry that didn't have that going on. And you're like, no one's teaching what I know. And I know what pioneering is. I got a few bruises on my body that I don't think are going to go away. I'm sure we all do. But that's what I hear when you share that. Okay, you interviewed 5,000 people. I can't wait till we get Sarah on here and she's talking about, I don't know how many people that she's interviewed, but tell us a story. Like, did someone come and just blow you away? Or was there a story that you can't forget about? Or was there a story that moved your world? Or was there a story that empowered you as a woman? Like, tell us something.
You know what, Deb, it's amazing and here's the thing, as I was just going to work every day, I didn't even realize like how unique this really was at the time to be able to have all these stories, like for, how they say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. So every single day I am listening to a new expert, a new author who's just pouring into and sharing their story and sharing their experience and sharing their wisdom. And so when you get me, I'm like 1,000 voices in my head because I have read all the books. I've interviewed all the people, right? They've all come through. They all came through our radio show. So anybody who'd ever launched a book, we had all the new books from the Napoleon Hill Foundation. When we had Rich Dad Poor Dad, we had oh shoot, I just forgot his name. The bald guy with the
Michael Gerber.
We did Michael Gerber. Anyways, they're all gone now, but they were all like, I've interviewed all of them. And while they're all of these unique stories, but I think what it really poured into me, Deb, and it's kind of what we were taking away today, like, you just do you, your message, your story, your experience. Like, you don't have to mimic, you don't have to try to be like somebody else. You don't have to compare yourselves to somebody else. You would hear these stories, and everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is unique, but no matter what, it's when they showed up as their authentic self. And I remember one of the very first presentations I ever did after I left broadcasting, I was in San Diego, and there was a gentleman there who had helped to book the biggest names on the speaker circuit. And he heard me speak, and he came up to me at the end, and he said, that was good. But when you step into your purpose of why, you'll be unstoppable. And I think for all of us, when we stop comparing ourselves and trying to be somebody else or think it's got to look different than it really is, and we just own who we are and allow God to come out, right? And just to be his vessel, then we are unstoppable. Like, that's where we're supposed to be, right? Who you are, right who you're meant to be, the journey you've been on, the story you've been, but go out and share your story so that others can see and be inspired by what you're doing. And that, to me, Deb, when I heard what you were doing and bringing in the network marketing industry and doing this book every year and bringing people from different industries, and then your mission with this and this download you have for the 262, I'm like, that's a woman who's on a mission, who is unstoppable. And I want to be a part of that. And I think when we hear all of these stories of the folks that are here today, I have the best job in the world because I get to be the sharer of your good news. Hey, I get to put those stories out. I get to play matchmaker. I get to introduce you to, and I just allow God to work through me and bring me the right people. I mean, he's the divine matchmaker for sure. Right? And like Colleen said, we're building community, right? We're building relationships. We're building trust. And look at the people that want to be on your train, hitch their wagon to you, Deb. And I just think it's amazing. So there isn't one story. There are 5,000 of them, and they're all amazing. But what they all taught me was, Angel, you do Angel.
Well, I think that's so important, not only from like that, when I hear you say that, doesn't it just kind of make you feel like breathing, you guys? It's just like, it gives you that allowance. It steps you out of that place of, I mean, yes, we do market research, and yes, we're, doing comparables, and we're doing avatars, and we're figuring out who our person is, and we're figuring out who our friends are, and we're figuring out who our neighbors are, and who we're going to spend time with, and who and what, and all of that. But when you talk about, being able to be confident in who you are, kind of like how Kimberly Butler was like doing her thing, and just knowing who you are, it takes the pressure off. Like, if you really drop into that, you do who you are and work through the barriers of what that looks like or sounds like, and get past that critical place or that comparison place, honestly. And like, didn't someone say it? Most of the time we're comparing ourselves against ourselves. Most of the time we're comparing ourselves against ourselves. We're not even comparing it. God, my neighbor looks good to me, today. Oh, my hair was kind of dry. Do you know what I mean? Like, we compare ourselves against ourselves. So, great answer. Look, life is life, right? You have 3 children, you've had business, you've had to go through economies, there's been ups, there's been downs, there's been happiness, there's been what there's been. But what do you do on a personal note? I mean, you get to go to work and be fueled up and filled up But, put that angel aside, the angel that goes home and folds her cape at night. What makes you, I love that. Colleen, from now on, every time I meet you, I'm going to introduce you that way. So, I mean, that's stuck somewhere in a file. So what allows you, or how do you stay in that place of joy for yourself? Like, how do you keep that positive attitude going on?
I've had people ask me that regularly. That's probably one of the most frequently asked questions Angel gets in her world. I've been married for 30 years. I've got 3 adult children. They just all three, get this, they all 3 just bought a house together. They just closed on it last week. Their first house, decided to buy a house, all 3 of them together. They're all single right now. And, I've been through it too, right? I've been through all the ups and downs, and there's a lot of ick in my life, but I will tell you, I am aggressive about what I listen to, about what I read, about what I watch, like the movies I watch, the music I listen, like I am aggressively protective about what I listen to and what I think about and what I pay attention to. And good stuff in, good stuff out, right? There's a thoughts are things, and our thoughts are so much more powerful. And I think if we truly realized how powerful our thoughts were, we would talk to ourselves differently. We would read differently. We would watch differently. And so I am aggressively protective of the things I think about so that I can be that joy for other people. I did not have a happy childhood, right? I didn't. And I think I've now swung the pendulum the other way, right? I'm going to be happy, damn it. And so I do everything, and I'm super protective of that. But again, it was one of those blessings, right? Like had I probably had a happier childhood, I probably wouldn't be so aggressive about wanting to be happy now. But it is something I protect very rigorously.
Well, you must be doing something right, because you have 3 children working at the happiest place on earth. So if what we've been talking about all day about how energy attracts energy, you've raised 3 children that obviously have to have a good sense of happiness, because if not, they would go to work and they'd be like, these people drive me crazy. Stop friggin' smiling. What's so good? What are you smiling about, right? So obviously you've done your work. Has there been any, again, I'm talking about a little bit, it's International Women's Day. It's a day that we're, proud. Was there ever any challenges, or is there challenges in the media world, or is there anything that being a woman in the media world has been to your advantage, disadvantage, or working with women that are in the media world, or trying to get women in the media world? Like,
there are not a lot of women in the media world. I would tell people I was in the top 1% of my industry, 1%, because I was hosting 2 back-to-back talk shows every day. There are there's very few radio talk show hosts who host 4 hours of talk radio, 2 back-to-back shows, less than a dozen women. So, I mean, in the top 0.1% of my industry. And it's really because there's very few women in broadcasting. Before I was in broadcasting, I worked for the PGA, which is also like the good old boys club, right? So but many of us are we're pioneers in putting ourselves in industries that were traditionally male led, even the speaker world. Then when I left broadcasting and I started traveling as a speaker, I have a lot of photos where it's me and a bunch of men, right? Those were the other presenters, whereas Angel was maybe 1 or 2 were women, and the majority of them were men. So I've just often been in this space. What I love is that I've been able to, I think because I've been married for 30 years, one of the things we were able to do is my husband left his company and started traveling with me. And that allowed people not to feel weird about me being a woman, right? With a bunch of men, how people have stigmas and ideas and what is she doing and what is going on here. But the fact that Jay was able to travel with me, one, opened up, I think, a lot of opportunities for me. So I didn't have to feel weird about being the only woman there. I felt safe because my husband was with me, but also I became the sole breadwinner, right? In our family. And I never thought I would be. And so all of a sudden this speaker world thing better work out because I am the sole breadwinner. But when it comes to media, I'll tell you what, there is a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity. And just like Colleen says, we are leading a new generation for our children. I think we've opened up a path for them to be bolder and braver and break traditional norms, not only in the family, but also in the economy, right? In economics and in the jobs and all of that. And so there's so much opportunity right now for women in media, but to have our story, COVID also changed the paradigm for getting exposure, because now we don't always have to travel. We can be featured on radio, television, podcasts, magazines without ever leaving home and just from wherever we are. So the amount of exposure that you want, the phone calls, the people that are accessible, social media is a game changer for us. Every single person that you want to meet and is to be connected to, you could probably find them online. They're managing their own Instagram, right? They're posting their own stuff on LinkedIn. Like everybody you'd ever want to be connected to, you have access to. It's easier than ever, I think, to pick up a phone call or pick up a phone or to send an email to somebody. There are so many opportunities. And here's the thing though, every day, journalists and podcasters, I've seen Sarah posting, you can be a guest on my show. Like she's looking for guests. They're looking for guests. They're looking for stories. They're looking for content. There's hundreds and thousands of media opportunities happening every single day. And yet at the same time, we have a whole network of business owners, of small business owners, micro business owners saying they're not enough exposure. They don't have enough customers. Nobody's buying my stuff. I don't have. Yet there's so much exposure and possibility out there. So, and you got people struggling, you have people looking for. So what do you need to bridge the gap is a media matchmaker, right? Like somebody in the middle that can bring all of that together. And that's what I get to do these days. But more than ever, your stories, write who you are, where you're at, what you've been through, what you are doing. That is a story that is ready for media. And so don't be afraid to reach out, to build relationships with journalists and podcasters, because they are looking for your stories and they want them every single day.
Well, my friend, I was just going to ask you, so what about media for people? You just answered that question. That's beautiful. I think when we talk about standing up, speaking up and showing up and being seen and recognizing that being seen is new. Being seen in this format can be very new. And we talk about the paradigm of TV was a big deal and you had to be someone to be a big deal, or whatever you think that someone was, whatever we thought that someone was. But, when we were growing up watching TV, we could never have seen ourselves. It wasn't an option. Oh, you could be a newscaster. You could be, it just wasn't thrown in the mix. I don't know what everyone else got, but I got teacher, stewardess. I was like, I'll take stewardess, teacher, nurse, stewardess. When I went to school, you could do cooking or sewing. You weren't even allowed in the mechanics class or in the metalworking class or what have you. And so environments have changed. And I think one of the paradigms of what it is that you're doing and shifting for people is realizing that, one, you don't have to change yourself to be in the media, and two, that you can be in it and it's not so elusive. It's not so elusive that it's tangible, and that can be confusing. It can be as confusing as SEO or social media or marketing, or Colleen talked about like proper follow-up, like how to do that, how to profit call and all those things. So these are skills that we are just all learning and relearning, right? My friend, you have a beautiful gift to give away. So why don't I let you introduce your own gift while I think of a question that people have to answer, because I've been engaged in your conversation, but I know one.
Do you have one? Okay. So one of the things I did say that every single day, there are opportunities. So you all have a story, right? The story of where you're at, what you've done, where you're going. We all have a story. and there's media opportunities. And we teach a really cool hack for how to start creating that media opportunity, how to build that relationship with journalists. And we've put together a guaranteed media starter kit. So how do you guarantee and get guaranteed media right out of the bat? And that is a free gift for all of you. It includes everything that you need to connect with journalists, what to send to them. We threw in the kitchen sink to help you to get started. And then we also run the best online Facebook group for finding guests and getting booked to help you to create exposure. So when you download that media guide, we're going to connect you if you want with our media, with our Facebook group as well. So everything you need to get started for creating, building relationships with media, telling a good story, and getting your foot in the door.
Awesome. Okay. So look at, you guys have hung in there today. I'm going to make this an easy question. You know what to do. You need to put your email in there. And you need to put, where do all of Angel's 3 children work? You can just put that word in there and put in the email, and you are going to win that incredible prize. And while you're doing that, I want to thank you so much, Angel. There's a couple of things that we want to share before we wrap up today. And look at that. We're like, ho, I think we might even be early. Like what? Everyone's like, how late are you going to be running today? I'm like, oh, it's me and Angel. We won't be. We won't be late. We won't be late.